There's so many memories about that day. None of us woke up that morning thinking how the world was going to change.
You are looking at a live, large, violent tornado wrapped in rain approaching downtown Tuscaloosa. This is a tornado emergency for the cities of Tuscaloosa and Northport and the campus of the University of University of Alabama.
The thing I remember most about that day was thinking that it was likely going to be someone else who was going to be impacted, and we would need to provide them assets. And then the first time I saw the tornado was in this office on the monitor to my right. We put up one of the city's traffic cameras, and we were able to see it out of the I-359, 5920.
Oh my God. You can see huge debris.
And at that point, then we realized, okay, we were going to be hit. And so Sergeant Palmer, who was assigned to our office that day, we went downstairs to the basement and watched the TV come in on a makeshift monitor on one of the news stations. And it was a surreal moment because, like everyone else, we're just watching this tornado churn through our city, and you have this out-of-body experience where you think that's someone else's city. And then there was about 20 people crammed in this room, and then all of a sudden phones start going off, and you realize, oh, this is going to be big. And as we were walking back upstairs to get back to our command center, Robin Edgeworth, who was one of our incident commanders, which is a term we use part of our emergency operations, told me that the Curry facility was destroyed. And I thought, that just can't be accurate. When I got back into the command center, I was informed that a large part of 15th Street was destroyed. Again, thinking there's just no way that can be accurate. And of course, a few minutes later when we got on site, certainly those reports were real. Those first few days were just unreal. It was a whole new world for us. Your city responded during its darkest hours, and it responded with courage, it responded with strategic thought, and it responded in a way that hopefully makes all of us proud. I know it made me proud of Tuscaloosa. The second is that Tuscaloosa took the response and recovery very seriously, and you would see such compassion, such generosity. The Alberta Aid Station, I remember just coming together, not by city design, but just by a group of volunteers who said, hey, we're going to make a stand. And I tell people all the time, I'm so honored that I got a chance to serve our city at that moment in our history, because I got a feeling that's what heaven's like, when we erase the petty differences that too often separate us. And we don't worry about race or religion or socioeconomic status or politics. We're all in it together. And so when our backs were against the wall, the thing we had was hope, and that'll always last with me. "12 months after the tornado, there was some criticism that recovery wasn't going fast enough. Now, what most people didn't know that we knew was, number one, 71% of the 3,000 homes that were destroyed were rental with a median income of less than $25,000. But the good news, the humanitarian news out of that, is we were able to find housing for 99% in areas that was better than they were in prior to April 27th. So we knew we didn't have a housing crunch in our city. And most people, that meant that for the private sector, it wasn't going to be a market for it. So we knew we had time. The second thing that we knew is that on the commercial side, 1/3 of the businesses that were impacted or destroyed were built before the city had codes. And so there were going to be insurance issues, rebuilding issues. We knew we had time with that. And the third thing is we had nearly $700 million in infrastructure or unmet infrastructure needs that you were going to have to rebuild to even allow redevelopment. We knew we had time to take a strategic look at this. And out of that came the Tuscaloosa Forward Plan. And now today, I think everyone says, okay, I'm glad the city took its time. And here's really the better thing about it. We could take time because no one, quite frankly, for the most part, was going to be in a rush. And the second thing is that we had to take our time if we wanted to really honor all those who had lost so much. And I'm certainly glad that we did. Some of the best advice I got was from a mayor who was from a major city, who said, Walt, avoid the tendency for this to return to the status quo. You'd rather people be mad at you for 2 years than be mad at you for a lifetime. This is my hometown. I was born here. I was raised here. Every street means something to me, and I'm glad that we did it the right way. When we started this rebuilding plan, we had $0, and so since then we've been able to secure $64 million in grants. So we knew this was going to be something that would take time. It's changed so much about how we've had to do business here at the city. We lost 17% of our police assets. We lost a fire station. We lost 2 primary communication towers. We lost 6 city facilities. We lost 85% of our own heavy equipment that we have. So we'd always anticipated in a disaster response of having all those assets. So having to adjust to that certainly was a lesson learned. Coordinating volunteers became overwhelming at times and took us about 72 hours to really understand how to do that. Those are some big lessons learned, and there's a lot of things along the way that if it happened again, we would have a better situational awareness. But if you take when you lose 12.5% of your city, our 1,358 employees did an outstanding job. They're real heroes. There's both seen and unseen, and you touched on it. Number one is the pedestrian and bicycle access plan that's now in place, and we've got about 1/5 of that complete, and so over the next 10 years I think you'll see it finally implemented in, and that's one of the big pushes. Better infrastructure, water, sewer, stormwater, road, and what you don't see is fiber. We're laying deep fiber 288 across the recovery zone to build what I think is going to be one of the most robust broadband technology infrastructure in the United States. What that means over the next 25 years, and I know that seems long term, but what that does mean over the next 25 years is that the city is going to be in a great position to work, to not only it benefits our internal operations, but to work with various carriers in providing broadband technology services for our citizens for decades to come. That's going to be stronger, it's going to be resistant to weather, and it's going to be able to provide speeds that will make us a community of choice. And I think today you see that by taking the long view, we are doing right by the people who lost so much on that horrible, horrible day. I think we could all agree, or I think most people could agree, on April 26, 2011, that Rosedale, Forest Lake, and Alberta were not reaching their potentials. There was no way, especially for those who'd been through hell and back, that we could allow ourselves just to go back to that dynamic. And I am really proud, because it's not politically easy, I can assure you, to change the status quo. And I'm so proud that our citizens, our elected leaders said, you know what, let's do this the right way. And here's what's so amazing. You hadn't seen nothing yet. I mean, the next 5 years are really going to be tremendous, and it's really going to make all of us very proud that Tuscaloosa is our home.